Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And that breaking news, a man wanted for burglary and sexual assault in Raleigh is now in custody. Where police found him and the list of charges he faces.
And our two big weather headlines are it's going to be a pleasant afternoon, even though it's a little cool this morning. And then a huge warm up is in our forecast with highs near records later this week.
And Final Four bound Duke men's basketball team is headed to San Antonio. A look at this morning's send-off.
A man wanted for sexual assault in Raleigh is now in custody more than 600 miles away. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Police say the crime happened early Monday morning at 200 Wolf Way. WRAL's Julian Grace is live near that scene with what we know, Julian.
Well, Michelle, we got specific times. We're told it happened about 1:30 in the morning and that Marshawn Robinson, quickly left the scene here. And then he was found 600 miles away in Alabama. Take a look at this video. This is video of Robinson being arrested in Alabama. He is surrounded by officers right beside that white pickup truck. Now, some residents didn't even know about the crimes that happened here at this complex. Robinson is currently charged with first-degree burglary, kidnapping, and forcible sexual assault on a woman. Now, those that live here at this apartment shared their thoughts after learning what happened.
I'm very surprised, honestly. Even though I've been here less than a year, but I haven't had any complaints at all. My last apartment that I was in, it was quite a bit of issues as far as noise and some crime, but I'm really surprised. Security usually kind of roams through here late at night, and yeah, I've never heard anything out of the ordinary.
Once again, you can hear residents are really surprised about what transpired here. As far as Robinson is concerned, he's currently being held in Alabama, and then he will be sent back here to Wake County. We're trying to get an estimated time of arrival for all of that. We'll continue to follow up. Coming up, though, later this evening, you will hear more from residents who call this place home and what they're doing moving forward. For now, reporting in Raleigh, Julian Grace, WRAL News.
Julian, thanks for that update. It is a comfortable afternoon out there, but our first 90-degree day of the year is coming up. Could be Friday, could be Saturday. We'll see.
It could be both.
Right.
Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio on why it's going to be so hot, 90 in April.
And I'm standing here on the patio, in my jacket, pretty happy. It's kind of borderline, like I maybe could do without it, but it's just a little bit more comfortable with it on. Plenty of people out here have been wandering around looking at the azalea blooms. They're really starting to pop out now over the last several days. It is 61 degrees right now, so it's pretty cool out there. We have an east wind at around 9 miles per hour. It's a chilly 55 in Roxborough and 58 in South Hill. But look at that. We're already at 71 in Fayetteville and 71 in Clinton. We're going to see much warmer temperatures in the south today, but a lot of cloud cover, and those clouds are going to keep our temperatures down anywhere from about 75 to about 100% of the sky will be covered with clouds today. A tiny chance of a sprinkle later on today. We're going to walk through Futurecast coming up and, of course, talk about our next big weather maker, which happens later in the weekend. But look at this. Friday 90, Saturday 90. Tomorrow we jump to 85 degrees, and that will be near record highs. We're looking at our forecast highs, of course, really climbing, and we should be up near records as well. So we're going to talk more about how long that heat wave will stick around coming up.
We also have more breaking news we are following this noon as state lawmakers just publicly presented their plan to tackle issues with our state's foster care system. The system was the focus of a recent WRAL documentary called Broken Foster Care in North Carolina. WRAL's Chris Levengood watched that bipartisan effort to promote the bill this morning during the news conference. And Chris, what happens if this bill is passed?
Well, Jeff, previous efforts to address issues in our state's foster care system didn't make the progress lawmakers wanted. But with this renewed bipartisan effort, lawmakers hope that they can better protect children and provide help to foster families. The bill is meant to help encourage more family reunifications, but that wouldn't happen for every single case. That's important to know. The bill also provides greater state DSS oversight over county DSS. This includes decision-making. If a parent's rights have been terminated, the bill also allows for a child to petition to have their parents' rights reinstated. Now, ultimately, the bill is meant to streamline the foster care system in our state and prevent the courts and foster system itself from burdening families.
It's important to remember that children are 25% of our general population, but 100% of our future. And that is why this is so important.
I appreciate being a part of this bill because it offers the kind of certainty and stability that really every child, every person, and every family deserves.
A state DHHS representative at the press conference today said the department has work to change itself, and that includes having regional directors help county DSS and a soon to roll out statewide IT system meant to help caseworkers tracking foster cases. Actually, tonight at 6 o'clock on WRAL, you can see my report that dives deeper into that system.
Chris, thanks for that. I know you had a huge hand in this, and you can watch the documentary by scanning the QR code right on your screen there or by going to WRAL.com.
For the first time in nearly 50 years, Duke headed to the Final Four, and the coach is not Mike Krzyzewski. Sky 5 flew over Duke University this morning as a crowd of fans gathered at the stadium for this morning's send-off to San Antonio. WRAL's Laura Levine was there, and she spoke with excited fans.
There was so much excitement here on Duke's campus as the team hits the road headed to the Final Four. Dozens of fans showed out to show their support for the team now headed to compete against Houston.
It's earlier than I've been awake all year, but for a good reason.
A wave of blue gathered outside Cameron Indoor Stadium to send the players, staff, and coaches off. We met 3 generations of fans among the first to arrive.
We're on spring break this week, so we saw that they're coming out, so we wanted to come out, support them.
Coach John Shire kicked things off by greeting fans, followed by some favorites like freshman star Cooper Flagg, who was loading onto the bus.
They look really good this year. I think overall the talent on the whole team is good. And add Flagg to it, it makes it special.
Duke is one of 4 #1 seeds in this weekend's Final Four in San Antonio. The Blue Devils are in their 18th Final Four in program history. And for some, like NBA student Greg Marks, this is a moment in history they must catch in person.
Ticket prices are the least of the concern. It's the flight and lodging, but hopefully not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but for right now it is.
And the Duke Blue Devils will play at 8:49 Saturday night. Of course, whoever wins that game will head on and advance to the championship game on Monday night. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Durham.
WRAL multi-platform producer Ryan Bissesi was on campus for the send-off and captured these shots. Check out Coach John Shire with his son, another fist-pumping fan, and check out the crowds. We want to see how you're supporting the Blue Devils ahead of their big matchup against Houston. Whether you are cheering from Durham, Raleigh, you're hitting the road for San Antonio, send your selfies, videos, and pictures to WRAL.com/reportit. We will share them on television and online.
And happening now in the WRAL Live Center, a federal judge today dropping the corruption case against New York Mayor Eric Adams. The judge in the case dropping the case with prejudice, meaning charges cannot be refiled at a later date. Now, the dismissal follows a highly unusual move by the U.S. Justice Department requesting the charges be dropped. The judge questioned both sides, asking whether there was some type of deal in place between Adams helping the Trump administration's immigration and enforcement policies. Prosecutors and Adams' attorneys all denied there's any sort of deal. We should note, though, several prosecutors resigned over what they called an unethical order to dismiss the charges against Mayor Adams. He is up for re-election, by the way, in November.
Americans, along with the rest of the world, are bracing for President Trump's new reciprocal tariff rollout. This afternoon, Trump is expected to announce the new list of tariffs, which he says will take effect immediately. Even before we learn the details, the White House press secretary left the door open to potential changes. Caroline Leavitt says the president is always up to take a phone call and negotiate, but is focused on fixing wrongs of the past.
Today, we'll get an update on public education in our state. The annual State of the Teaching Profession report will be released. Last year, the report showed teacher turnover was the highest it's been in over 20 years. 1 in 9 teachers quit. School systems have started to hire new teachers with no education background to fill the gaps. But WRAL's education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains the new hires are also leaving.
They do get training, they do get some support, they are required to take classes, but a lot of them don't stick around after a few years. So we still kind of end up with the teacher turnover problem. It just gets delayed a few years.
And teachers say pay is a major problem. They are required to have a college education, but do not make as much as the average college graduate. We'll be following today's meeting to find out if teacher retention has improved and what the Department of Public Instruction is doing to prevent further losses.
Carolina Hurricanes take on division-leading Washington tonight. Carolina takes the ice this morning for a little morning skate. No doubt on their mind stopping Alexander Ovechkin from breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record. Now he needs 3 to tie, 4 to break the record, so that'd be a long shot. The more likely scenario is Carolina winning and clinching the playoffs, just 1 point away from their 7th straight appearance.
We still just take care of business. You've got to stay focused on today, and the big picture and all that stuff will take care of itself if we continue to focus on kind of doing what we have to do day in, day out. So, that was the goal 6 months ago, 7 months ago when we started. We still have to, accomplish that, and then, chip away at the other stuff.
Yeah, the goal hasn't changed. Canes playing some great hockey right now. They are 8-2 since the trade deadline. And remember, you can watch the Canes take on the Capitals right here on WRAL tonight. The game is on our air. All the action starts at 7 o'clock.
Next at noon, out of control. A driver in Japan slams into people on a sidewalk. Several hurt. The dash cam video of how this happened.
Also, Iceman actor Val Kilmer has died. We'll have a look back at his iconic roles.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Our new news continues here in the WRAL Live Center. Myanmar's military leaders today declaring a ceasefire in order to facilitate the process of getting much-needed aid to earthquake victims. The temporary end to the fighting comes as the death toll from last week's massive earthquake tops more than 3,000. Now, based on the announcement, this truce is expected to last until April 22nd. The hope is this would give relief workers a chance to get much-needed aid to earthquake victims, particularly in remote, hard-hit areas. Now, having said that, earlier today, rescuers pulled 2 men alive from the ruins of a hotel in Myanmar's capital. But the grim reality is rescuers are mostly finding bodies. The quake hit last Friday, toppling buildings, demolishing buildings and bridges and entire communities.
7 people, including 2 children, were injured when a driver in Japan lost control of her car Tuesday. I want to warn you, this video is disturbing to watch. There's dash cam video here captures the moment that vehicle swerved out of control in central Japan. It went up on the sidewalk, slammed into 7 people. Now, fortunately, officials say that nobody is considered in life-threatening condition here. Everybody's going to survive. They're going to be okay. Police arrested the driver at the scene on suspicion of negligent driving, resulting in injuries. Back here in the U.S., police in Boston are looking into whether a driver experienced a medical emergency that led to this crash. This was the scene in the city's Chinatown district. A box truck crashed into a crowd of people on the sidewalk. 4 people had to go to the hospital. 1 was critically injured.
Today, the CEO of Boeing will testify before Congress about his company's recent missteps. Kelly Orthberg will address the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. He sent an email to employees previewing his testimony, and in it, he admits the company still has a lot of work to do. He says Boeing is making fundamental changes to fix its work culture and strengthen safety and quality. And the NC Forest Service has lifted the statewide burn ban. It was in effect for 12 days because of hazardous forest fire conditions. Recent rain did help reduce the fire danger. As of 8 o'clock this morning, burn permits will be available in all 100 counties.
You know, we've all seen it, that yellow dust that comes with living in North Carolina this time of year. It is all courtesy of those beautiful trees that we have, some of the flowers, the grasses, and the weeds out there. But is that really what's causing all our sneezing fits? WRAL meteorologist Chris Michaels explains.
It's been so thick that you could even see that pollen, that haze from the air. Great shot here from Ann Boyd in Raleigh, and you can definitely see that veil of yellow right there. What's interesting is, as of March 21st at least, it was the 5th lowest pollen count to start the season, according to the Southeast Regional Climate Center. But what's even more interesting, and I just found this out a couple weeks ago, is that the yellow stuff that's coating everything is non-allergenic, and researchers at NC State say it's because of the large grain size. A lot of times you can blame it on oak trees, even birch, maple, cedar, and hickory that produce that more allergenic and tiny pollen. Regardless, it's annoying, isn't it? So you see the tree pollen tends to peak this month, so we do have a few more weeks left to go, especially with how warm it's going to get. When it's really warm out, the air is less dense, the pollen can travel more freely, so those levels are going to be higher over the course of the next few days. If you ever have something that you're interested in, you can always go to WRAL.com, find my email address, and I'll answer it in an Ask the Meteorologist segment.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, the pollen is just absurd right now. We were talking earlier. It's on your front door handle. It's on the cushions outside. It's everywhere.
Yeah. No escaping it.
Yep. Yeah.
And Elizabeth Gardner's right out in the thick of it at the WRAL weather patio right now. That rain did help, though, I will say. It felt like it helped anyway.
It did. We're about to see the pollen probably ramp up a good bit starting tomorrow. It's a little bit cooler today. That may help to keep the numbers down a little bit as well. But we get 85 tomorrow and then 90 on Friday and Saturday. Ooh, it's going to be a mess over the weekend, I feel like. But then on Sunday night and Monday, we should get a good soaker. I mean, this round of rain that we'll see is likely to be the heaviest that we've seen in a while. We take a live look at the gardens behind me, and I've seen a bunch of people out here. I don't see anybody right at the moment, but we're really starting to see the azalea gardens come alive. I wouldn't quite say it's at peak bloom, but potentially by early next week it'll be at peak. But there are a lot of different varieties of azaleas here, and they bloom at different times. So you can start coming now. It looks beautiful. If you can't come for another 2 weeks, it's probably still going to be beautiful. 61 is our temperature currently. Our dew point's fairly low at 45, looking at a high in the low 70s this afternoon. Lots of cloud cover all across the state, really, at this point. There may be a few holes in the clouds later on this afternoon. You can see a few of those showing up, especially south of Raleigh. You'll also see just a couple of those green patches. We have very little chance for rain, but it's not a zero chance. We're giving it about a 20% chance. Most of us are going to be dry, but it's worth a mention starting around the time of the evening commute through dinner time. It's 57 in Roxborough and South Hill, 61 in the Triangle, and 71 now in Fayetteville, 73 in Clinton. So we're starting to warm up down south. You may see a bit more sunshine there. Closer to the Triangle, 59 in Garner, it's 60 in Cary, it's 61 in Holly Springs, 58 in Wake Forest right now. Around town this afternoon, we'll hit the low 70s in Raleigh and Durham and mid to upper 70s in Fayetteville. Of course, we're very excited to have the Hurricanes game on tonight, so you can watch it on WRAL. Or if you're headed out and you're going to be tailgating, the weather looks fine for that. Temperatures just before game time will be in the low 70s. It will be cloudy, but there's really a minimal chance of any rain. 85 for tomorrow, and then 90 Friday and Saturday, 89 on Sunday. So we have 4 days with our temperatures well above normal. This will be the first time if we hit that 90 on Friday or Saturday, the first 90-degree days of this year. But the earliest on record was actually March the 12th of 1990. So we're nowhere close to the earliest. Way down there at number 5 was April the 3rd of 1946. So yeah, nothing terribly unusual about the 90-degree days that we'll see, except for the fact that there'll be records in terms of highs. It's going to be steamy through this period too. Friday through Monday, our muggy meter is going to be way up there. And now this does not look like it'll last long. Once Sunday's front comes through, we'll see cooler temperatures. Highs will be below average for a good bit of next week. Of course, Dreamville happens Saturday and Sunday. The heat's going to be a big thing. But coming up, I'm going to walk you through our potential for rain late on Sunday that could affect the concert goers. Of course, after that, we're looking at mid-60s on Tuesday. Temperatures do cool down nicely for us next week.
90 to 60. Normal, yeah. All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Eliminating DEI. Republican state leaders want to remove policies that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion from North Carolina colleges and universities. How the proposed bill would limit the ability of colleges to investigate complaints. That's coming up this afternoon at 4.
Plus, tracking foster children tonight at 6, how a statewide IT system will help make that system more organized, and when it'll be put into use. Plus, still ahead this noon, confident and cool from Iceman to Batman. Val Kilmer was known for his iconic roles, and on-screen star known for his charisma has died, and we'll have a look back at his life and career.
Plus, download or delete. Your Facebook Live recordings might disappear soon. The reason behind the company's policy change. Welcome back. On your Wednesday afternoon, you're taking a live look at the DBAP. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Well, Hollywood is mourning the loss of actor Val Kilmer.
His daughter says her father died Tuesday from pneumonia. Stephanie Elam takes a look back at Kilmer's life and career.
From a quirky spy in the 1984 cult classic Top Secret,
you guys really are cowboys.
to the intense fighter pilot in Top Gun.
You're everyone's problem. That's because every time you go up in the air, you're unsafe.
Val Kilmer's film career took flight in the big 80s, but the slick performer trained at Juilliard honed his acting chops on the stage and saw his craft as a serious means of exploration.
Have you ever turned down something you regretted?
No, I don't really think that way. I just look forward. And also, what in the personal way, what I gained from acting, the opportunity to experience things that certainly you'd never do in your own life.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
In the 1990s, Kilmer explored the mind of Jim Morrison in Oliver Stone's The Doors. Critics praised him for nailing both the look and the sound of the late singer.
I'm your huckleberry.
2 years later, he played the pasty yet poised gunslinger Doc Holliday in Tombstone, and later a desperate construction engineer hunting lions in The Ghost and the Darkness. Along the way, Kilmer co-starred with some of Hollywood's heavyweights, like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro in the bank robbery movie Heat, and played the superhero.
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
As Batman in 1995. But it was an earlier collaboration on the set of the 1988 movie Willow, where Kilmer met co-star Joanne Whalley. They were married almost 8 years and had 2 children. Later in his career, Kilmer returned to the stage, playing Moses in The Ten Commandments, the musical. He also wrote and performed the one-man show Citizen Twain, taking on the persona of the great American storyteller. But under the makeup, the actor was dealing with grave health concerns. Kilmer downplayed cancer rumors, but then later said he had beaten the disease, which required a tracheotomy and left him with a raspy voice. In 2022, he reprised his role as Iceman in the Top Gun sequel, Maverick.
Who's the better pilot? You or me?
This is a nice moment. Let's not ruin it.
Like the actor himself, his once boisterous flyboy character, subdued by illness, still commanded respect and even awe on the silver screen.
And kind of worked it into his role in Top Gun Maverick there, the throat cancer. Stephanie Elam was reporting there. Kilmer survived by his 2 adult children, Jack and Mercedes.
Yeah, big loss for Hollywood. Well, the Hurricanes are on home ice tonight and on WRAL. What a win tonight would mean for the club.
And taking on Elon, a Pennsylvania man says the world's richest man owes him money. Why he says Musk needs to buck up. And here are your winning lottery numbers on your screen right now.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
New this noon, deputies in Franklin County are investigating a deadly drive-by shooting. It happened around 9:30 last night at a home on Burt Winston Road. Officers say they found an elderly woman dead and multiple bullet holes. Her name has not been released, but WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shares details of this investigation where deputies left the scene with at least 60 evidence markers.
This appears to be a deadly shooting. Deputies were at that scene all night long for about 7 hours. Right now, investigators here at the Franklin County Sheriff's Office are working to piece together how all this happened. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video of the scene late last night. The drive-by shooting happened in a neighborhood on Burt Winston Road near US 1. We spotted more than 60 evidence markers in that area. Deputies received a call about the shooting just after 9:30 last night. We know at least one person was shot. We're working to get an update on if anyone else was hurt. When we received our last update from the sheriff's office, deputies say they're still waiting on a search warrant, so we'll be sure to keep you updated on the search for that shooter. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Franklin County.
And deputies in Vance County are looking for a person they say fired more than 30 shots at deputies. This started just after 11:30 last night in Henderson. Deputies say they tried to stop a driver. That person sped away. A chase then started and ended on Foster Road. Investigators say the driver crashed into a deputy's vehicle head on. After this, the driver reportedly fired shots at deputies before running away. Despite all of this, nobody was hurt.
And this just into the WRAL Live Center. Authorities in Nashville say the shooter in that Nashville elementary school shooting back in 2023 planned the attack for years and hid her mental issues from authorities. This information coming out today based on a summary report released by the Nashville Police Department. In that report, Hale believed the shooting would bring her fame and notoriety. This is, of course, surveillance video from inside that school of that scene where former student Audrey Hale walking into the Covenant School, opening fire on students and staff. 6 people died, including 3 children.
Former Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff says he does not agree with a deal between the firm that employs him and the White House. President Trump says the firm Wilkie, Farr & Gallagher agreed to provide at least $100 million in pro bono legal services for veterans and other public servants. The firm also agreed to not engage in DEI measures. This is the same law firm that represented 2 Georgia election workers who successfully sued Rudy Giuliani for defamation. Emhoff became a partner in January after his wife Kamala Harris left office. Pennsylvania man claims billionaire Elon Musk owes him $20,000 for gathering signatures in support of his pro-Trump election campaign. Musk and his super PAC, America PAC, offered $100 to registered voters in battleground states who signed a petition supporting free speech and gun rights. Voters were offered another $100 for every additional voter they convinced to sign the petition. America PAC says it is committed to paying for every legitimate petition signature.
Today, the Supreme Court will weigh in on whether patients may sue states that cut Medicaid funding for Planned Parenthood. At issue is an executive order signed in 2018 by South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster. It pulled Medicaid funding for the state's 2 Planned Parenthood clinics. The Republican governor argued that those payments amounted to a taxpayer subsidy for abortion. A ruling from the conservative Supreme Court is expected by the end of June. And women who need more than just a mammogram to detect breast cancer may soon receive help from state lawmakers. A bill advancing in the state legislature would require insurance companies to cover additional screenings and breast exams. Patients often have to pay out of pocket for things like MRIs and ultrasounds, and those screenings can cost hundreds of dollars. Legislators have introduced similar bills in the past, but they did not receive enough support to become law. The House Insurance Committee is scheduled to discuss the proposal this afternoon.
We're waiting for the State Department of Health and Human Services to release new data on respiratory illnesses in North Carolina. So far this flu season, 464 people have died from the flu. 5 of those were children. The number of emergency room visits and hospitalizations has been trending down over the past few weeks. We will bring you the most up-to-date information when it becomes available to us. A new bill moving through the North Carolina Senate is looking to save you time at the doctor's office. Senate Bill 335 would expand the role of pharmacists statewide to include the ability to test and treat flu and strep throat. Insurance companies would be required to cover the services the same as if a patient were being treated in a different healthcare setting, like an urgent care or doctor's office. Patients who require stronger medications would still be referred to a doctor. The bill passed unanimously in the Senate Health Committee.
It's a big night at Lenovo Center. You'll be able to watch the Carolina Hurricanes host the Eastern Conference leading Washington Capitals right from the comfort of your own home. We are airing the game on WRAL, and WRAL's Laura Levine explains how the Canes could clinch a playoff spot tonight.
The Carolina Hurricanes are coming in hot here at the Lenovo Center, gearing up for their 7th consecutive Stanley Cup playoffs. Tonight, they will hit the ice against the Washington Capitals. We're talking about the top 2 squads in the Eastern Conference. The Hurricanes have won 29 of 38 home games. This season, the Capitals have won 24 of 36 away games. This will be the 3rd time the two teams will match up. There is a lot of excitement from all over, especially from folks over at Polar Ice Raleigh, who we caught up with. They are thrilled to be able to watch this game on TV and support the Canes, who have inspired so many amateur hockey players, young and old.
It's super awesome for me because I didn't grow up around hockey. I just moved to Raleigh about 2 years ago. So it's really cool to kind of get immersed in having a local team and a local team that's doing super well.
And after hosting the Capitals tonight, the Canes will begin a 4-game road trip. You can catch all of the action, even if you're not here inside the Lenovo Center. You can watch it right in your living room on WRAL. The puck drops at 7 p.m. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And again, remember, you can watch the Canes take on the Caps right here on WRAL. All of the action starts tonight at 7.
Durham Bulls fans, meantime, have another chance tonight to see their team get a win. The Bulls played their home opener last night at the DBAP against the Sugar Land Space Cowboys from Texas. The Bulls pitching staff was pretty strong, 16 strikeouts. The offense didn't show up, though. The Space Cowboys got the win 2-0. The Bulls and Space Cowboys will do it again tonight. First pitch at 6:35. An event benefiting people affected by Hurricane Helene. Coming up in 10 minutes, we will chat with organizers of the Potter's Market.
And we'll meet a special kindergarten teacher who cannot imagine teaching any other grade. And for news, traffic, and weather of the day, make sure to download the WRAL News app.
Teacher of the Week time, and this week's teacher has taught kindergarten at the same school for 20 years.
WRAL's Ken Smith is at Harris Creek Elementary in Wake County with this week's deserving recognition.
Do you think the clouds are high up in the sky, or do you think the clouds are kind of covering those mountains?
Davida Tatum can't imagine teaching any other grade level than kindergarten. Why kindergarten?
Look at them. They're cute, they're sweet. I mean, they just soak up so much of the energy. They give me energy. It's just exciting. What do you notice about the weather? Let's look at that picture. What do you notice?
I notice cloudy.
All right, you notice it's cloudy? Thank you, sweetheart.
She's known for loving on her students and giving them the foundation to be confident and comfortable in the classroom so they can express themselves.
I really like to see them learn, them grow, get to help their parents see the potential in them. It's just a really good experience, and it just fills my heart with joy. So what you're going to do is turn and talk to your partners like we always do.
Tatum says there's nothing like that moment when her students at Harris Creek Elementary learn something new after putting in the work.
For a long time, they were struggling, and you don't want to see the kids struggle because they feel like they can't do it. But the more you motivate them, keep talking and encouraging them, the excitement is there in their face, and you get excited too. You want to keep doing what you do.
Miss Tatum, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. How about that?
What in the world?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ken Smith, WRAL News.
Oh, that hug that she got from that student. How cute. If you would like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com and enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Kindergarten, self-explanatory. Yeah. Vanishing videos. Some Facebook users might notice some recordings disappearing off the app. What are you going to do before the company erases your content?
And the beauty of art. After the break, how you can help Hurricane Helene victims at a pottery market.
Welcome back this noon. Get ready for a celebration of resilience and craftsmanship. This Saturday, potters from Western North Carolina will be here in the Triangle at Raleigh Ironworks for a one-day market, and it is all to benefit people who have been affected by Hurricane Helene. Joining us to talk about this event is Julie Wiggins from her home pottery shop right now. Julie, thanks for joining us here, and take us back. I'm thinking of October when leaders told us 80% of Asheville's River Arts District was destroyed. We were on scene with reporters. We saw the video. We didn't have to be told. We saw it firsthand. How are the efforts going to rebuild?
Well, right now, that's where we are. We're in the rebuild. And I live about an hour north of Asheville, in the pocket of Spruce Pine and Bakersville. And so I live between two haulers. So what was made our area here so different is that we are tucked up into so many mountains. And the floodwaters just came down and buckled roads, and we were without internet for over a month and electricity for 6 weeks. So we were, focusing on getting people generators at that time and getting them their basic needs. And right now we are in a big push to fundraise for our downtown Spruce Pine and our Bakersville area so that we can get people back to work.
Yeah, I know that arts community is a tight-knit community right there in the River Arts, 26 warehouses, 300 artists, as they all try to bounce back. There will be dozens on hand, including 15 from Western North Carolina who are coming into Raleigh. Tell us about the variety of items for sale and what you're looking forward to most from this market Saturday.
Well, we are so enthusiastic about this opportunity because we are still closed in our area, not really able to have too many people come. So where many of us here have our own showrooms where people shop, this is going to provide us an opportunity to get out mugs to people. So like here is an example of some of the mugs that will be there. But we have from your everyday mug to your one-of-a-kind special piece that makes your heart sing. So there'll be something for everybody.
Well, speaking of singing, we have heard concerts. We have heard different ways to get this community some help. This is another one of them. The Western North Carolina Hurricane Relief Potters Market, Saturday, 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. at Raleigh Ironworks. It is a free event, so we encourage folks to get out there because all the proceeds go directly to Western North Carolina artists. So, Julie, thank you so much for the time, and we wish you well. I know the recovery still continues, and we're behind you with this as well.
Thank you so much. This opportunity gives us hope, and it brings momentum back to us. So thank you so much.
We hope to see it through as well. Michelle.
Thanks.
What a wonderful way to give back. Any little bit helps everybody out in Western North Carolina. All right, let's get out to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. She's on the WRAL weather patio. You have a jacket on. It's a little chilly. It's cloudy right now.
Yeah, we'll take a look at what's happening here as we take a look at Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, and Chapel Hill. A good bit of cloud cover, and temperatures are starting to warm up a little bit. We're going to climb into the low 70s, but in the clouds with a little bit of a breeze here on the patio, just with a thin shirt on. I'm pretty happy to have my jacket on right now. I know it may look like overkill. I just hate to be cold. Here's a look at the big picture. We have a line of thunderstorms that's out ahead of this cold front. You can see the red shaded area. That's where we have tornado watches that are in effect, and we've had some severe thunderstorms along this as well. It looks like it's moving along toward us, and it is, but it's actually going to be moving very slowly over the next several days. It doesn't arrive here until late Sunday into Monday, and it's going to stall there right about where it is and continue to bring some very heavy rain to the middle of the country where there's flooding likely to happen. Now for us today, we're looking at cloudy skies. We could see just a quick sprinkle right around the time of the evening commute, maybe into dinner time. Most of us won't see any rain, and whatever we see won't even be enough to settle the dust. It's just going to be in and out, just a quick little shower. After that, we are dry until we get to late Sunday. But that will be our next big weather maker. We're going to see near record highs ahead of this front, a very strong flow coming out of the south. Showers and thunderstorms Sunday night into Monday. Right now, it looks like the severe threat would be to our south, but just keep checking back, and we'll certainly have more updates as we get more information about the system as it sits back to our west. This is a look at the big picture. The high pressure system sitting off the coast of Florida, rotating clockwise, will eventually pull up a lot of warm, moist air. So the humidity climbs, the temperatures climb to nearly 90 degrees, but that high isn't moving. So this is going to be a stalled pattern, and we're going to see all that rain developing from Dallas to St. Louis to Chicago. And the purple shaded area there across parts of Missouri is 7 to 10 inches of rain. So this is not going to be a good situation for the middle of the country. Today, Thursday and Friday, there's either a high to extreme risk for flooding in that area. And then eventually over the weekend, that moves here. Now, it's not likely to stall here, but we may get a good soaking that we really haven't seen in quite some time. If you're headed to Dreamville, the first thing to know is it's going to be hot, especially in the middle of the afternoon. 90 Saturday, 89 on Sunday. And then the second thing to know that it's probably going to rain after sunset on Sunday. This is a look at 1 o'clock, and as we head through the afternoon and evening, I'm going to pause it there at midnight. So between, say, 6 or 7 o'clock and midnight, we could see maybe a half an inch of rain in Raleigh. Now, the good news is that, I feel bad for anybody that may be affected by that. But good news is we really need some rain, and we could see anywhere from an inch to 1.5 inches by Monday morning. So that's definitely some much needed rain for us. In the meantime, of course, we're looking at a pretty quiet and cool day today at 73, and then a pretty long heat wave from Thursday all the way through Sunday. We get into early next week and we cool off considerably.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. High-tech crime. Police say they busted a robbery ring suspected of stealing money, jewelry, and high-end purses. The device officers say the team used to help carry out their crimes.
And here's a look at your winning Mega Millions numbers. We'll be back with top stories in a moment. Five men arrested as part of a highly sophisticated burglary ring are in federal custody now. Officers in Colorado say the crew used Wi-Fi jammers and covert cameras to track their victims. If you take a look at the items stolen from nearly 24 homes in Aurora, Colorado, cash, high-end watches, purses, sunglasses, jewelry, much more there. Police say the crime ring used Wi-Fi jammers to disrupt home security systems. They also had other devices to conduct surveillance.
Well, we now know the reason why some Facebook users can't find some of their live videos. Meta implemented a new storage policy back in February, but very few people knew about the change. Live videos currently older than 30 days will be removed from Facebook, but users can download them. They can transfer them to cloud storage or convert them to Reels. You can also postpone the deletion for 6 months, but only once. Live videos from memorialized accounts are not subject to this policy.
And more of the headlines we're following for you as we wrap things up today. A man wanted for sexual assault in Raleigh is now in custody more than 600 miles away. Police say the crime happened early Monday morning on Wolf Way, and officers arrested Marshawn Robinson in Alabama. He faces charges of first-degree burglary, first-degree kidnapping, second-degree forcible sexual offense, felony larceny, and assault on a female.
And breaking this noon, state lawmakers just publicly presented their plan to tackle issues with our state's foster system. The system was the focus of our recent WRAL documentary, Broken Foster Care in North Carolina. The bill is meant to help encourage more families reunifications.
First time in nearly 50 years, Duke's headed to the Final Four without Mike Krzyzewski being the head coach. Sky 5 flew over Duke University this morning as a crowd of fans gathered at the Cameron Stadium for this morning's send-off to San Antonio. You can show us your team spirit by sending selfies, videos, and pictures to WRAL.com/reportit.
And our pet of the day from Cat Angels NC is a handsome tabby who warms quickly to people. Rusty is a handsome tabby, 3 years old. He still has some of his kitten energy, but he's also becoming a little more laid back. He's not a fan of loud noises and hopes to find a home. Fill out an application if you would like to meet him. NBC News Daily continues on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.